For most whisky lovers, the name Brora holds a certain weight and it stands as one of Scotland's most iconic distilleries. Right here, time-honored traditions meet exquisite whisky. Let's pay them a visit.
Embark on a spirited journey through time and tradition, where golden barley transform into liquid gold. Whisky. From the verdant fields to the mastery within aged oak casks, we explore the soulful alchemy of distillation across iconic distilleries. Join us as we unravel the tales and taste of a legacy, meticulously crafted, drop by precious drop. This is WhiskyStories.
So the distillery itself was founded in 1819. So these buildings over at the far end were the main buildings back then. The distillery was expanded in 1896, and we expanded with these warehouses here.
Right now we are in Brora Distillery. The distillery closed down as part of the industry-wide closures in 1983, and what makes it really special for me is that this is a distillery that was silent for almost 4 decades, and the excitement around bringing this distillery back to life was palpable.
So it may look kind of surprising that we have a stainless steel mash tun here, but one thing we discovered when we were bringing Brora back was that Brora was one of the first distilleries in Diageo and possibly in industry to have a stainless steel mash tun. So this is an exact replica of the one that would have been here from the early 70s.
Visiting Brora is a really exclusive and bespoke experience. It's a distillery where you book in advance. Feels like a very, very personal and bespoke experience when you come here.
What we're really trying to do, we're trying to bring back the liquids. We're restoring the liquids by using all the old techniques and being fully committed to fermentation times of the past, volumes of water, temperatures and so on. We can never make more Brora than they made in the past because we're fully committed to the previous regime. Yeah. So again, it's about bringing back that liquid as close as possible, and to give ourselves the best chance of doing that, we need to learn everything we could about the past.
Brora's certainly an iconic whisky. It's adored by whisky fanatics. So depending on which time of Brora you're tasting, you'll find different flavours are more dominant and other flavours are more subdued. What for me is one of the joys of Brora that is not easy to categorise. It's a whisky that has lots to offer, and depending on the time of production you're looking at, you'll find different flavours. It's always fantastic. The most recent expression of Brora is actually the Brora Triptych. So when you purchase the Brora Triptych, you get to experience all 3 different flavour styles that Brora has made over its storied history. A few years ago, we announced the reopening of Brora Distillery, the plans to rebuild it and reopen it, which was very, very exciting. The distillery closed in 1983 and hadn't made a drop of whisky since then.
When the distillery was closed, the whole building itself was structurally unsound. So if they'd taken the roof off to remove the stills to put them in another distillery, the whole building would have collapsed. So it was too dangerous to even come in here. So it meant that these just sat here waiting for nearly 40 years until then, which is phenomenal. Because the still house, it's the beating heart of the distillery. And to have the original stills, it's just an amazing part of the puzzle still to have. Because when you have the stills, you can then reverse engineer the process all the way back to the start. And I think it's just a nice feeling that they're still here.
Because with Brora, we still had a lot of the site still in situ. The stills were still in the still house, so they just needed a very good clean. We sort of pieced together how it had been made. We interviewed people who had created the whisky 40, 50 years ago. Some of them are still around, so we were able to actually speak to them in person.
Just before last Christmas, we held a reunion.
Yeah.
So all the workers that still live locally, we invited them up and they came round and they just spent the day up here looking around, and they were telling us fantastic stories of the past. Because it's important to remember that people worked here, and people have stories and funny things happened, and it was just lovely to have them come round, and we know that they're there and they're happy to volunteer their time to tell us how they were doing things. They've all volunteered to come in if we're stuck with anything, so it was just a wonderful thing to do, to have everybody come back in.
And every aspect of our production echoes back to how the whisky was made 40, 50 years ago. Even we're using the same stills to make that spirit. So when you do eventually have the opportunity to buy a Brora from this production, which will not be for a very, very long time, you can be confident that it will still have those flavours and styles and tastes and textures that you know and love from the Brora of 4 and 5 decades ago. We're currently at Brora Distillery, which produces a single malt that is known, adored and respected across the world by whisky fans. But we're also on the same site, just across the road from Clynelish Distillery. Now Clynelish is increasingly becoming liked and adored as a single malt as well, but it's probably most famous for being one of the core components in Johnnie Walker. When we talk about Johnnie Walker, we talk about the 4 corners of Scotland being represented in terms of flavour, style, taste and texture, and Clynelish is an integral part of that. Anytime you're tasting Johnnie Walker and you find that waxy creaminess present, that's coming from Clynelish Distillery. So it's also a distillery that's worth visiting.
Thank you for the dram. Really thank you for the dram, and thank you for the time here. It has been such a pleasure being here with you.
No, pleasure's been all mine.